What is going on, guys, and welcome back to another episode of the Truro City Youth Academy Challenge. Today we have finished season 2. Finally managed to get it done for you guys, and I'm now sat up. It's quite late. I've done a 12-hour shift at work, and I'm sat up recording this just for you guys. But literally in about 7 hours' time, this is going to go up. So we have got the end of season 2 with Truro City. We're gonna go through the squad. We're gonna go through how we did, the schedule. We're gonna look at the manager profile. We're gonna look at all that good stuff and see how we got on. So without further ado, let's get into it. So here we are then, boys and girls, back in Football Manager. We've got the Truro City page right in front of us. You can see we're still in the Vanarama National League South, and we finished in 18th position, a relatively poor season. In another sense, you could say a very good season. We survived again. We did not get relegated. We haven't been able to buy players. We're still very much using the players from last season, along with a sprinkling of the youth players that we've got. So you could say we've done all right. We've done all right. We haven't done brilliantly, but we've done all right. Facilities wise, I don't think anything's changed. We've gone up to youth level of 4. I think this is still the same. The academy coaching, this might have gone up ever so slightly, but the rest of it is still the same. The youth facilities and the youth recruitment is still very much the same as what it was last year. So if we go into the league and you can see exactly how things finished, you can see Boreham Wood won the playoffs. So Boreham Wood and Southend, they will both go up. And you can see we survived on 54 points. We were 9 points away from relegation, but we are still 10 points off where we finished last season. Last season, we finished on 64 up here. So it was very much a harder season for us, but it was to be expected. We haven't got the players we had last season. While we have a lot of them, we don't have many of them. And we'll ignore that tactic there just for the minute, but we were still very much using this. It just didn't seem to work as well this season. If I show you the schedule, you can see it's very. If we go just by the league, if we filter it by the league only, and we go into league north south, you can see it's very inconsistent. We had a very poor start. It took us to the last day of August to get our first win, and then you can see from there on. Things didn't improve much. We only got 1 win in September. We didn't win in October. November, we got 3, so that weren't too bad of a month. We started to pick things up. No win in December. Picked things up again with 2 wins in January. And then we had a little bit of a run in February, off the back of January going into February, where we had a little bit of a run. Some really good results in here. This one was mad. We fought back into this one, managed 4-4. We then started March very strongly with a 6-4 win over fellow relegation candidates Billericay. And unfortunately, things didn't improve from then on. We went back on our poor form. Dorking absolutely smashed us. Dartford should have won their game. Even though we scored first, they definitely should have won that game. Margate were arguably the better side at home. Hemel Hempstead completely obliterated us, so did Western-super-Mare, which was even more annoying with that one. That one I weren't too pleased about. April was a very good month for us. We definitely needed a strong April, and we got one. A 1-1 draw at top of the table. Southend was superb. Lewis Rooney scoring in the 62nd minute. Worthing, again, a decent result. They were in the top half of the table. They were doing very well, and it was a very good result for us. Bath, again, a very good result. I think they were around that sort of area. When did they finish? They finished 17th in the end. So did they go on a bit of a losing run? They must have gone on a bit of a losing run towards the end. Yeah, they went on a bit of a losing run. But at one point, they were playoff candidates. You know what I mean? They were in the playoffs. So we had a very good result there. Lost again to Boreham Wood. Boreham Wood have been superb this season. Every time we played them, they've really given us a go, I believe. You can see there, 4-1, they smashed us there. So they were a good team, beat us in both legs. Weymouth, very disappointed we lost this one. Weymouth eventually finished 12th, but we at the time we were the better team of the two. Then we played Dover. Dover, I believe, were also vying for a top half finish around that sort of time. You can see they finished 13th, and again, they had a relatively decent end to the season, but they ended up finishing 13th. So they were playing really well as well at the time. And Dorchester, who have gone down, I believe, 21st, they went down. That was a very good result for us on the last day of the season. Not that we needed it, we pretty much relegated Dorchester. And what annoys me about it is if we hadn't have relegated Dorchester, Chelmsford would have gone down instead. And Chelmsford, as you know, are my big rivals. How did we do against Chelmsford this year? We lost 1-0 at the start of the season, and then we drew 1-1. So you can see they're my bogey team big time in this save, Chelmsford. Do not like playing them at all. So, moving on from there, we can look at the finances. Finances-wise, we're 52,000 in debt. We have a budget of 250,000 for next season. We're not going to use any of that. We are currently spending very near to our wage budget because literally I'm just giving players what they want. We need to keep these players. Rooney, we need to keep. If he goes, we struggle. We're going to struggle big time. Sullivan's starting to lose a bit of his place in the team. Obviously, you can see Jack Johnson here is starting to come up and starting to ask for game time a little bit. We've got Charlton Doe here as well, who is also coming up. But both of these two players, 5'9", and I think Jack Johnson's 5'3". I think he's even smaller. Yeah, they're both smaller players, so they're not going to be the pressing forwards I want them to be. So they might have to play in a different role that I'll show you very shortly. But yeah, so we've tried to keep Sullivan, Rooney, Neil, Okoro. We've tried to keep. That's not going to happen. He is going to go. So we are going to be light on the wings next season, which is unfortunate, but it's the way it is. We're gonna replace him. Harvey is not signing a deal. I am trying my hardest, but he will not sign. He's only looking to options for the future like he did last season. So hopefully we can keep him, but it's looking unlikely. Connell Dick has had quite a bit of playing time. He has not been playing down here. He's been playing up here. These two need to swap. So he's playing here. He's had a fair bit of playing time. He's been doing quite well, and I'm very pleased with how he's looking. 8 on passing, 11 on vision. Nice work rate. His positioning's awful, which is the only problem, and he has not been playing DLP. He's been playing centre mid on sport. So he's been playing incredibly well. He'll be here next season. Riley Lowe will be here next season. I don't know in what capacity he's going to be used. He's not played very well this season again. Last season he was awful. This season he's been even worse. I don't know what we're going to do with Connor Riley Lowe. If I get an offer for him, he will leave. I just don't know where we go from here. And in all honesty, at 29 years old, there's no room for retraining. And I'm moving to a system that doesn't use fullbacks, which might be a problem in non-league. But I want to see how it goes. Thomas Seago is one of our youth prospects that came in this year. Very good youth prospect, current ability of 1 star. So it gave us a bit of solidity in the back, and that is exactly what we needed because we were playing with a 2.5 star, silver 2.5 star centre back for a lot of this season. So I think that's where we struggled. The minute he came in, as you can see, he came in around the April time. And you can see how much better the results are towards the end of the month. So maybe that was the reason. Maybe we should stay with a 4-4-2. But I want to try something a little bit different. I want to just basically go hammer and tongue. These two need to swap around. Yeah, I want to go hammer and tongue and really try and batter teams. We're probably going to concede quite a bit in the process, but if I can get the tactic working right, it might do something for us. We got Anton Brownlee, very good player. Came in last season, obviously year 24. Came in the last season. He's played really well. He's gone up to a 2-star, so you can see his development has slowly increased here. And then all of a sudden, he just started shooting up over the last couple of months towards the end of the season. But at the start of the season, he was still playing every game. He just was not developing. Then towards November time, he just started to edge his way up. And then March through to May, absolutely meteoric development. And he looks very, very good. He could do with a bit more speed, and he could do with being a bit more consistent. But I was very glad to get him when I did. And I think that this pairing between these two, this Thomas Seager and Anton Brownlee. I think between the two of them, give it 3-4 years. If we haven't got promoted out of this league, we won't have these two players. These two players will have gone by then. I think within 5 years, these two could really be. They could be playing next league up. You know what I mean? That's how good these two are. Hemmings is one of the original youth players that was here. He's played fairly well this season. 6.72 is not brilliant, but he will also be in the team next season. Looking at some of the other players, Ruben Jeffries, he's going to be here next season, but in what capacity, I don't know. I still haven't worked out what I'm going to do with him. And that's just sort of the way it is with him at the moment. Ollie Bryce will be coming in. We'll talk about Hassan very shortly. Bryce will still be here. He's now up to a 2.5-star ability. He is playing really well. The only problem he's got is obviously he's a generated player that was already here. He's only got the 4 acceleration and the 3 pace. And it just worries me that he might not be the man to take Truro forward, even though he is relatively decent. His consistency is a little poor, which is part of the reason I'm looking at him. He's conceded 88 goals in 42 appearances, which isn't great stats. But the problem he's got is he's got Hassan behind him. And Hassan is 15 years old, and he is already 2.5-star rated. And there's something about Hassan. He's got incredible consistency, which is brilliant. But there is and he only conceded 1 in his 1 appearance. But there is something about Hassan, and I am going to show you exactly what that is. And while we didn't concede off this, we came close to conceding off this. Hassan is basically a worry for me. And as you can see, we've got the ball. We're coming forward. Hemmings with the ball. So you're thinking, what's this got to do with Hassan? So it comes back to Hassan. And he's playing his role very well. Plays out to Brownlee. He plays the ball forwards. Too long. Goes to Lane. Lane decides to boot it long. There is not, he is never winning that. And look how close he came to scoring. So, I like the aggression that he wants to do. Oh, what have I done? I like the fact that he's got a bit of an aggression to him. That he is willing to run out and get those balls. But I think he needs to decide that if their player is on the halfway line and he's still in his box, he's not winning that. He's not getting to that ball. And he definitely doesn't need to be changing his mind halfway through, does he? I mean, let's be honest. That's part of the reason we had the problem. But I think he might be the one to take over. The problem is he's got one vision, which for a sweeper keeper is not brilliant. And he's got 1 first touch. So he definitely needs some work. But I think he may take over from Bryce in the near future if I decide to go with a sweeper keeper on the new system. Niall Lyons will remain here. He's not growing at all, really, in all honesty. And he's only here as cover, really, more than anything. We've had a few youth players come in this season, which I'll show you shortly. Patrick Carsley didn't really play towards the end of the season. Although this coming season, obviously with his work rate and his positioning increasing, he's 5'11". He's going to be playing a big part for me in the squad, and I'm looking forward to seeing what he can do. Ewan Scullion, I think that's how you say it, Ewan. He had a bit part role this season. He played 26 times. He played relatively well in where he did play. He got 9 assists. I think he did very well. He's a bit of a fickle personality, which isn't great, but I think he did all right in what we were asking him to do. And he's quite comfortable playing on both sides, so he could easily be retrained to play on this left-hand side that I'm looking at. And that's pretty much it. So if I show you some of the youth players we've had come through that are sitting in or around the first team. So we've obviously, like I said, we've gone over Seeger, who came in. There's not really been much development elsewhere. Brad Parks had a bit of development coming in, and he's nearly at his gold star rating, but I just never know where to play him. Next season, he will be playing in the centre-back position as a sub. Danny Reeve will also be playing as a centre-back. He's 6 foot, and he's not got the greatest acceleration on that, but I reckon he'll be all right as a centre-back as well. So them two will become centre-backs. Jake Davis will be playing in the attacking midfield role, I think. He could do with a few attributes in better places, like he could do with better passing, anticipation, a bit of determination, whatever else off the ball. But there's enough here for me to say that maybe, just maybe, with a bit of tutoring and everything else, he'll do a lot better. Jack Johnson will be around as always. He might be playing on the right though now, with his passing and whatever else. He has the potential to be playing on the right. Like I said, Hassan might be first choice next season. I don't know. Corby is one of the new players that have come in this season to play on the right. He's 5'10". It's looking very unlikely that he is going to be playing as a fullback, considering I'm not going to be using him. So he may get retrained into a defensive midfielder of some kind. We'll have to see what goes with him. Philip Murray is another one from this season. Again, he's a fullback but plays on the left. 6'2", so he could very well become a centre back, and I think he may well become one of the starting centre backs in the future. Probably not yet, but maybe in the future. As you can see, I'm going to a 3 at the back system. You can just tell by the way I'm talking. Kevin Stewart is a very interesting player. His attributes don't really stand out anywhere, and I can't really decide what I'm going to do with him. The 8 crossing is interesting for a winger, but then he can pass a little bit, and he's got a bit of off the ball. He's got a bit of technique about him. He's not really got any flair, but he's got some aggression. So he's got some pace and acceleration. He can finish to a certain amount. It's pointing me towards a pressing forward, but then I see the 5'9", and now I don't really know where I'm going with him. Maybe the attacking midfielder role. Maybe that's something we can look at with him. I just haven't completely decided where we're going with Kevin Stewart, and that is one of the issues with a lot of these youngsters. They're just all right all round, and I don't really know where I'm going with them. We look at Ihor, 6'1", very big player. He's not very fast though. He has decent work rate, so if I can get his speed up, there's a very good chance he's going to become a pressing forward in the future. Could do with getting his finishing up a little bit as well, and his anticipation. There's just holes everywhere with some of these. And these were the best of the youth we've got. In terms of the other youths with high potential, if we have a look at them, you can see we've got Charlton Doe. He plays up on the left-hand side. He would need to be retrained to play on the right-hand side with his left foot. He is 5'9", but he's pretty round, decent, and could be a backup next season, potentially. Sam Meacham is a natural deep defensive midfielder. That is very good. The problem is he is only 5'7", and the attributes there, I just don't see any way he makes it as a footballer. He's got no acceleration. He's got no jumping reach. He's got no pace. He's not very tall. I just don't see where we go with Sam Meacham, which is unfortunate. Herbie Twine is never going to be good enough. He's basically just signed in just to help give some squad rotation in the under-18s. Jerry Langdon, again, another player I don't really know what I'm going to do with. He could potentially become a decent lower league pressing forward, and that's exactly what he wants to be. We got 7 passing, 5 first touch, and you can see like teamwork, work rates there. Strength is not really there at the moment. He's got a bit of pace about him. He's very brave. So there is very good chance that he could become a pressing forward in the future. If we go to John North next, John North again is very much of the same ilk. He wants to be a winger or a pressing forward. I think there's a very good chance he's going to be a winger. I don't like this tries to play way out of trouble. We might be looking to get rid of that. But again, there's John North. Moving on to Tim McGrath Colbert, one that came in this season. He is a defensive fullback. He's only 5'10", so I don't really want him playing in the DC position. However, with a little bit of training, I think he could play in the defensive midfield role. He could be playing definitely as that halfback. He's got the ability. Maybe just a normal defensive midfielder, maybe a halfback, maybe, I don't know, a ball-winning midfielder. He's got that potential. He may be in and around the team. Ali Afra, he will definitely be in and around the team as well at this stage. I'm looking for attacking midfielders, and he fits the bill as one that could be all right, which is very nice to see. So he may be in the team. Moving on to Casey Redknapp. At the moment, has very little ability, has decent mentals in certain places, but at the minute, he has no ability whatsoever. He wants to be a ball-winning midfielder on defence, and maybe with that He's 5'9", so that's going nowhere. Maybe we can make him into a Scotland Volante, or we can increase him into the attacking midfield with this off the ball being a slightly higher than his positioning. And he's strong with both feet. It's just a shame he's incredibly slow. If he wasn't slow, he'd be going straight onto the wings. Xavier Bell is another one. He's from New Zealand, but he won't be playing much in this season or next season, and will probably leave at some point in the near future. Lee Webster, very similar sort of story, no real ability. He's got a strong right foot, plays on the left naturally. So if he plays on the left naturally over here, wow, accomplished. There's a chance he may be able to fill in this role with what I'm planning to do. But again, there is a lot of holes in this player, and I don't know where he's going to go. Kalen has made it back down into the under-18s. I want to give him game time. I want him in the under-18s having some game time. So that is why Kalen is down here. He may make his way back up in the future, provided he can reach some of this potential and relatively soon. Ali Cherry is also back down into the under-18s. Not using wingers. He's not very tall. There's a very small chance that he's going to ever make it at the club. Although there could be a chance if we go back to having fullbacks. Shane Bowen is an interesting looking player, apart from the fact he's got no potential. So he probably won't be here in a few years' time and will never actually make it. Ben Reynolds, again, looked really good that towards the back end of the first season. He played a little bit at the start of this season, and then he just completely fell off the boil, and potential has dropped massively. So he was one that they got massively wrong, and they said he was going to be a 5-star. And now he's saying a 3-star. So he's fell off quite a bit, which is unfortunate. Matt Carr has found himself back down in the under-18s. The reason for this for Matt Carr is, although he's got this nice high potential, he's got a good height to him. He's low on his acceleration and pace. He needs work. He needs some game time in the under-18s just to recapture a bit of form, get some development going, and hopefully then we'll be able to do something with him. Same applies for Stephen Cowie. I think there's a potential for him somewhere. He's got this nice high potential, but again, he needs to get developing and he needs to speed up on it. We've got Isaac Jones from last season and Jarvis Gonzalo. We're not going to look at them two because those two were two that we did identify last season as not being players that were ever going to make it here. In the under-21s, we have no one. I have thought about putting people into the under-21s, and that may happen very soon. If we go to our manager profile now, so you can see we've got our Continental C license. They've been paying for our licenses, which is brilliant. A little disappointed the working with youngsters hasn't gone up. I assume that will go up over time as I use more and more youngsters. But everything else, as you can see, is very nice. It's all increasing. Everything going, determination, player knowledge, level of discipline, people management, motivating, all that sort of stuff is happening. We have a preferred formation of a 4-2-4 with wing play. I am using a photo that I took at Christmas not too long ago. So there is a lot to improve on for next season. Training wise, our coaches are looking good. If we go to our staff, our coaching team is looking very good. It's very healthy. Not really too bothered about the scouting team. We only have one scout, and he is here purely to scout the next team. That's all I'm interested in with him. We have 2 physios. I'm looking at the moment for a sports scientist. There is a advertisement out for a sports scientist. We're not going to go and find one ourselves. And I think that pretty much draws things to a close. I can show you a couple of good games. If we have a look at the Billericay game, which was very end-to-end, you can see we were playing a similar formation to what we were before. I was just trying to make us a little bit more defensive, but as you can see in this game, it didn't really help us. So they opened the scoring with Pollock in the 4th minute. So again, a big ball over the top, and they capitalise and get the goal. And then Rooney, 5 minutes later, from his own ball over the top to Okoro, who plays it in. Rooney is there, and Rooney is always going to score that. They then went ahead 3 minutes later. This was an incredible game. It really was. I was watching this like, this is mad. If we lose this is incredible. And that is a beautiful strike into the top corner by Krit Sharma. I assume his name is Krit Sharma, something like that. In the 16th minute, they then got a red card. We then went on to level terms with Rooney getting a goal Again, I think it's a Okoro to cross it in yet again, which he does. It goes into Rooney and Rooney finishes it nicely into the bottom corner. Going off that, then Dan Sullivan gets another one. It's Okoro again, this time, still crossing them balls in. But this time it was Dan Sullivan just peeling off the last man and getting a nice header into the back of the net. And then just before half time, Pollock then scores their third goal of the game. So we're going into half time 3-3. And I think if the non league Manuel Neuer was there, I think we might have saved that. But then we probably would have lost this game anyway. We then came out after the halftime team talk and we really took the game to them. Rooney going up the top end, stopping, giving a nice little turn, playing it into Sullivan, who only has to tap it into that bottom corner. And that's it for 4-3. We then went and scored a fifth. Rooney this time picking the ball up. Harvey plays it over the top. Rooney's there on the volley. Boom. Into the top corner. Beautiful goal. And then Okoro finally gets his just deserves by getting his own goal of the game. Hemmings with a beautiful ball over. And Okoro finishes it off. That assist by Hemmings was just absolutely beautiful animation work. And then obviously with Viger getting one back to finish 6-4 on the night. It was an incredible game. And look at that. That is a beautiful finish. Sometimes you just have to sit there and say, you know what? That was something else. And apart from that, I think we've covered everything. Competition-wise, we fourth qualifying round by Southend in the FA Cup, and we went up in the second round to Hashtag United in the English FA Trophy. We're not really bothered about either of them because we were in doo-doo land by trying to stave off relegation. Next season, again, attempt to avoid relegation from the board. Apart from that, they are very happy with how things are going. And then the supporters, they're also very happy with how things are going. They're a little disappointed in some recent performances and happy with others, but the supporters are fickle. They you know what I mean, they do what they do. In total, a very good season. We stayed up. We got some nice youth players through. We've got the non-league Manuel Neuer down here. The Dutch version. But that is going to end today's episode. If there is anything you want to see within the save in future or in future episodes that you want to see that I maybe missed or haven't gone over. In fact, like something like maybe you wanted to see the Premier League. You know what I mean? So we could just go up and have a quick look and you can see Man City won the league. They won actually the treble. They won the Community Shield and they won the Carabao Cup. So you can see Wolves and Villa getting UEFA Champions League, while Wolves got Europa League. The Midlands clubs are coming up in this save. They are coming up. Somehow Newcastle got the UEFA Europa League. Oh, that's right. They won in the FA Cup. That's correct. You know what I mean? So if you wanted to see any of this sort of stuff and you wanted to see what we're going through and how things are going, then by all means leave a comment and let me know. For those that wanted a update on my friend that's doing it, he managed to survive his first season. Thank the Lord, he managed to do it. 12 players he had in total. He had one less than I did, and he managed to survive. It was very, very close in the end. Like, I think he was saying he managed to survive on the second to last game of the season, which was very, very close. He's had his youth intake now. He's losing a couple of players this time around. I think a couple of them, like we've got going abroad or whatever. I think Okoro's going for him, a bit like us. So he is going to have a bit of a tougher second season, I think. He is also still only semi-pro, and he still only has 26 hours total in any Football Manager game. So I think he has done an incredible job with his version of this Youth Academy save with Truro. And I thoroughly hope that he manages to survive next season, because it will be very gutting to be doing this Youth Academy challenge on my own, because we do talk about it quite often at work. So hopefully he can carry on the good work with Truro. So here's my good luck to you, AJs. Even giving you a name call out as well. How about that? But that is going to end today's episode. If you guys have enjoyed it, then please subscribe to the channel, drop a like on the video as well, leave a comment. It does wonders for the YouTube algorithm. We will get there. And I will see you potentially this time next week for season 3. I've got a busy week coming up. I don't think I'm going to get you 2 seasons this week. I'm going to try, but season 3 should hopefully be next Sunday. Hopefully. Between then and now, we're going to have some ETS, some ATS, some Paragon or whatever it's called now. Paragon, I think potentially that test has finished and the early access is coming out soon. That's also happening for the other Paragon remake, the predecessors. That's also happening for that. And that's coming out soon. So if those two are out of their final tests, there's a very good chance there's going to be no Paragon. I've got nothing for Paragon or anything like that on here. Other than that, there might be some Smite. So it'll mostly be this week, ATS, ETS, and Smite, while I try and get through this season for you guys so you can have the video on Sunday. But have a good one, everyone, and I will see you for the next one. Goodbye.